Hello, and welcome to today's training on school community councils and school safety. My name is Elise Nui, and I work in the School Children's Trust section at the Utah State Board of Education. Today's goals for today's training are first to talk about the requirements that the school community councils have in regards to school safety. And then secondly, provide some additional ideas and resources that you can tap into when discussing school safety with your school community council. So first, the requirements. Now, if you remember from our earlier trainings, the school community councils were originally set up to deal with the school land trust plan, to both put it into action and to come up with ideas for next year's plans. However, the legislature noticed that school community councils were such an asset to schools and to communities that they decided to give you some extra responsibilities. One of those is to have a discussion about school safety. Now, the law specifically states that school community councils will work with students, families, and educators to 1, develop and incorporate safety principles, 2, hold an annual discussion with school administrators to coordinate efforts to develop and incorporate safety principles, and 3, provide input to the principal on a positive behaviors plan. Now, these requirements are defined rather broadly. The hope is that you will have meaningful conversations about school safety at your school community council meetings with the administrators of your school and with your community. And what you decide to do with that is really up to you and is about local control. What makes the most sense for your specific community and your specific school? We do expect that you will be having some sort of conversation during the year. However, we have no requirements on our end. You do not need to fill out any forms. You do not need to submit anything to us at the state to prove that you've had a conversation. We just trust that you are having meaningful conversations at the school level. If you do have forms or something that you're trying to fill out, it's most likely coming from either your school or your school district. So if you have questions about those forms, it's best to go to your school administrators or your district administrators with those questions. However, just because these conversations are not monitored here at the state, that doesn't mean that we don't want you to have really meaningful conversations at your school. So here are some ideas for how you can have those meaningful conversations. You can, as a council, discuss and identify priorities where the council would be really effective in supporting school safety. You could select a priority or maybe 2 that the council could address in that year or in that time period. Then prepare an action plan to address that issue. You could do it just like you do other school plans that you work with your school community council. Create a goal. How are you going to measure that goal? How will you know that the goal has been achieved? And what are some timelines and assignments that you can give out to members of the council or other interested community members to support your overall goal? And then finally, involve experts and other parent groups in your conversations about school safety. So again, these are just ideas that we have and things that we have seen be really successful for other schools during this conversation. Other resources that could be really useful for you are available on our website. So if you Google USBE Land Trust, on our resources page, there is a page about school safety and digital citizenship. There you will find resources that we have made, as well as links to other resources that schools have found useful in the past in having these discussions. Also, at the USBE, there is a Safe and Healthy Schools Committee. They have a website as well with lots of resources, ways to look at data, national resources that you can use to support your conversations about school safety. Now let's talk about what school safety means. Safety is defined very broadly, and it is anything that makes a school a great place for students to be, a place where they feel healthy, where they feel welcomed, and they feel like they can thrive. So some of the areas where you might want to talk about safety, first and probably most obvious would be transportation. So transportation discussions can talk about anything like crosswalks, parking, the crossing guards that you have available. I know that's one we talk about often with our school community council. What are the bus routes? Are they being effective? Are there things you can change? Safe schools routes, as well as other outdoor facilities that impact the safety and transportation of students. Similarly, you might want to talk about the physical safety of the school building and the facilities. So again, things like crosswalks and parking lots, but also playgrounds and fields, right? All of the outdoor equipment, security systems that could be inside, that can be getting into the door. I know we as a school community council in my district provided input on the district's new ideas for security systems. There could also be discussions about school safety officers or school resource officers and the best way to utilize other community members that are involved in the school community. Less obvious, but just as important, could be conversations about your school climate. So that involves positive behavior plans. What kinds of plans are the school putting in place to support student involvement and encourage great student behavior on the front end? How does the school deal with bullying? Are there things that can be done to improve that area? Also, things like substance abuse or emotional safety. You could look to other data sources that are typically not used in school community councils, such as climate surveys or discipline data. What kinds of insights can those data sources provide you as a school community council? And also mental health. Mental health is such an important part of our school safety. That can be conversations about counselors and social workers, how they're being used. Also, what programs are being put into place or are available to not only our students, but also our teachers and our families. You can spread awareness about the crisis hotlines we have here in Utah and how to better utilize them, as well as just general education about supporting and protecting student, teacher, and family mental health. And then finally, while this is also a separate area and a separate training we'll be doing, digital citizenship falls under the safety umbrella. Often when we think about digital citizenship, we first think about the software and what is being used to filter unwanted stuff on our students' computers and other technology. But it also includes a lot of education. How are we teaching students to be empowered to use the internet and technology well and to utilize it in a way that spreads their greatness to the rest of the world? Also, how are we helping teachers be empowered in this area? There's a lot of great programs at the state level, the national level, all over the world that help teachers learn more about how to use digital technology well and how to teach those same skills to their students. Next month, we'll actually be featuring a video with some really concrete ideas for things that you can provide in your plans for teacher education in the area of digital citizenship. And then finally, also community education. How are you involving families and community members in the idea of getting students empowered to use the internet safely? And just some final ideas. This is a really great opportunity to create subcommittees. If you remember from our past conversations and other trainings, subcommittees are a great way to get things done without using up your valuable school community council meeting times. So create a subcommittee. And also remember that subcommittees don't have to be members of the school community council. So if you had people who didn't win the election or people who got involved too late and aren't official members of the community council, or maybe you just have community members who are really passionate about this idea, give them the opportunity to create a subcommittee. Go find out some answers, go do some research, and then come back to the school community council during an official meeting and present what they find out. Also, don't forget to invite professionals and experts to come talk to you about these ideas if you have questions. There are people at your school, at your district, at the state level who do these things for a living and would be so thrilled to share what they know with you. And then finally, use this as an opportunity as well to recruit and engage family and community members in your school community council. Oftentimes, parents are kind of intimidated by the data process or the school land trust plan, but safety and digital citizenship are ways that parents really feel passionate about their students, right? We all want our students to feel safe. So use this as a way to get them involved and get them in the door and create that network and that really robust school community council. So that's it for today. As always, my name is Elise Nui, and I work with Paula Plant and Natalie Gordon at the School Children's Trust section at the Utah State Board of Education. This is our contact information, and please reach out to us with any questions that you have ever. We love talking with you. We love helping you and supporting you. And thank you for being here, and we hope you have a great day.